Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Building Better Business Practice Management webinar series brought to you by the Florida State Oriental Medical Association. Tonight's topic is Practical Marketing 2020, and we have an expert panelist, or a panel of experts with us tonight to go over this topic. So for those of you that do not know me, my name is Natalia Morrison. I am the Director of Communications for FSOMA, and just like you, I am also a licensed acupuncturist, and I'm here located in Miami, Florida. So tonight we have Lorne Brown from Healthy Seminars. We have Jeffrey Grossman from Acupuncture Media Works. And we have Michelle Grasek, hi, from Acupuncture Marketing School, correct? Said it right? So before we begin with our experts, I wanted to do some just housekeeping for you guys. So at the bottom of your screen, you're going to see an icon that says Q&A and one that says chat. And at the chat box, why don't you click over and just let us know what city and state you're located in. I would love to know where all of you are viewing us from. Like I said, I'm in Miami, Florida, and our experts are all over the world. Oh, we all have another one from Miami. Nice, thank you. Bonita Springs, Lake Worth, Jacksonville. Great, thank you. Thank you all for joining us. So we're gonna move on to the next icon, which is gonna be really important for tonight's presentation. And that is the Q&A button. So at the bottom of your screen, you're also going to see the Q&A button. And that is where you are going to submit your questions. And that's where I'm going to read our questions out for tonight's presentation. So since we have 3 experts with us tonight, if you want to direct your question to that specific expert, all I ask you is to write their name before your question, so that I know who to address the question to. If you do not write the name of our expert in the question, then I'm gonna leave it open for all of them or for whoever wants to address it, okay? So like I said before, we have Lorne Brown, Jeffrey Grossman, and Michelle Grasek. And we're going to start off with Jeffrey Grossman. Welcome, thank you.
Hi, thanks for having me. As usual, I really appreciate showing up for FSOMA, and you guys you've been doing some great stuff since the end of last year to now for your membership. So all of you folks out there that are not part of the FSOMA membership, I encourage you to join, because Natalia and Ellen and everyone else that I know that is part of the FSOMA are really doing their due diligence to, you know, keep the medicine alive and thriving in your state. So thanks for having me back. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Jeffrey, for your words. Thank you. So Jeffrey, why don't you talk to us a little bit about marketing, your experience? What does your clinic look like in regards to marketing now?
Sure. Yeah, no problem. So right now I'm actually not in private practice right now, so I just want to get that clear. But I started practice in 1997, and I closed my practice when we moved outside of Seattle up to a couple hours north of Seattle, and I've been focusing on really helping other practitioners find greater success in their practices, and by offering Acupuncture Media Works, we do websites for acupuncturists, we do online monthly marketing materials and things of that nature. So my focus now is to really help the profession stand tall and become more adept at growing their own practices. And with that, I mean, what I've been seeing a lot lately is, one, this whole COVID crisis is crazy, and it came out of left field and clobbered so many practitioners over the head, and there was nothing for them to grab onto. You get a message from your mayor, from your governor, that says you've got to close your doors, right? And therefore your income is gone. My wife is a massage therapist. She has not been in practice for about 2 months now. And thankfully, I'm still making my income. She's not making her income. And that, you know, is true for a lot of folks like who might be listening today, that part of your income or maybe your entire income is gone. So with that said, it's really important for practitioners to find a pivot point and to use this time to tap into other areas that have been deficient. And I'll talk a little bit about them and briefly, but I really feel that this is a wake-up call, because I don't think this is going to be a one and done thing for the pandemic and for clinics needing to be closed, unfortunately. And I think it's the time for us as, you know, practitioners and as people in this medicine to figure out what else can you add and to contribute that you can, you know, use to diversify your practice, right? That's really one of the biggest things I am walking away with when I'm talking with some of my clients. Is like, how are you wading through this time right now? How are you diversifying your practice? And one of the things that's been coming true, I've got a mentoring group that I'm working with, and one of the things that we've been working on in this group is helping these practitioners, one, go, you know, tap into telehealth. That's the biggest thing, right? I wish I had Zoom stocks, you know, 3 months ago, because Zoom is going off the wall. But telehealth is something that is really important for practitioners to tap into. Now, the question that's been coming up in the mentoring program is, well, what do I do? You know, how do I reach out to my patients to make that happen? So a couple things that I feel that are important that we've been working through are coming up with specific offers and programs that you can put together for your clientele. And some of the first things that I had them do, excuse me, I'm just gonna close this door here. Some of the first things that I had them do was to write a list of all of the things that they potentially could offer. And that ranged from Qigong classes, from acupressure techniques, to breathing techniques, to how to cook specific kanjis and food, and herbal consultations, and just sort of follow-up touch-base telehealth conversations. So one of the first things that I had encouraged them to do is just, create a script and an outline for them to, that they can, fall back on when they put together their telehealth program. And a lot of them were like, well, so what do I do? I mean, how do I charge for this? So one of the first things that, that I suggested that they do was to make a list of their A patients. And the A patients are the people that you know, that you love, that you like, and that you want to clone your entire practice of, right? And many of you, out there who are in practice right now, your A patients are the ones that you really resonate with, right? Those are the folks that you just really, like, you see them on your schedule and like your energy like raises when you see them. Your C patients are the ones that like you like kind of a bit of a drag. And when you see them on your schedule, it's kind of like, oh man, okay, I can muster up this energy to kind of get them in the clinic and work with them. And so I suggested that the first place for them to start is to make that list of their A patients and give them a call. And the call was simply just a check-in, just checking in with their patients and just, hey, how you doing? I'm just checking in on you and your family, making sure that you guys are safe and sound during this crazy time. And I want to let you know about some of the things that I'm offering in the clinic. And that was basically a really simple script. Everyone came back the following week. Some of them made 7 calls, some of them made 40 calls, and most of them got a really good positive response from the people that they got in touch with, and they felt really encouraged and empowered that they can do this and that they did it. And I feel like I feel like it's such a simple thing to do, to reach out to your patients, but it's also kind of challenging. And I feel like part of the challenge is they were stuck in, because they close your doors and like you don't know what to do with yourself. You don't know, you're kind of running around in circles. So that was really encouraging to find their encouragement in that. So A-listers reaching out with a simple phone call and presenting them what your offerings are for your telemedicine. And one of the things, I put a webinar on, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago now, all about telehealth, and everyone's doing telehealth webinars these days. And I'm sure you may have heard this, but I feel like Doxy.me is one of the easiest and accessible telehealth software programs that is available for the medicine. They have a free version. The only thing about the free version I don't like, well, there's a few things, but the main thing I don't like is that the video quality is low. So when you upgrade to the next level, the video quality gets better. So I think Doxy.me is a really good telehealth program to tap into. So that is one thing to really consider, is to think about diversifying your medicine now, because it's going to come around again. How can you pivot now so when it comes around again, you're not feeling scattered, you're able to focus? Okay, what can you tap into now that you can really pull forward when this comes around again? I mean, I hope it doesn't, but chances are it will. And another thing that I think is really important is when you are home and you have this time to, if you're not working, there are a lot of things that you could be doing. And I think one of the things that you could definitely be doing, and I would highly suggest if you haven't already, is to do this, is to work on maintaining your digital awareness. And with that, my suggestion would be to do a self-audit of your website. Go and look at, check out what's happening with your website, what needs to be changed, what needed to be changed months and months ago. This is a time to go back there and do some housekeeping on your web presence. And because I feel like your website is the calling card online. It's the first place that people go to when they hear about you, when they get a referral to you. They're going to be, checking you out online. So you need to take this time and use it to, part of it could be helping if you've been procrastinating on anything to do with your website. I think it is time to tap into maintaining that digital awareness with your website. Make sure that you have clear and compelling calls to action on your website. And those could be, right now, it would be like, hey, we offer telehealth and telemedicine consultations. Make sure that you have a new page set up on your site with all of your offerings that you have brainstormed with regards to what kind of new products and services you might be able to offer during for your telehealth sessions. And with that said too, as far as telehealth and diversifying and your website, I would even consider really tapping into getting more retail or more your herbal pharmacy up on your website, so people can order from you directly from your website in that way. So how are we doing with time? You doing okay?
You're good. I already
Okay.
got a question for you.
Okay. Sure, I'll take the question.
All right. I was looking into doing YouTube channel and trying to help clients, but it's been challenging keeping the momentum. Yes, I agree. Do you have any advice to help for some new to YouTube, if you could shed any light?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, it's challenging, and well, one, kudos to you for tapping into YouTube, because YouTube is going to be one of those things that will help add SEO juice to your website overall, right? Because Google and YouTube, they just love each other. They're entwined. And when you have YouTube streaming onto your website, that will help your website, get found more efficiently. So I would really suggest, and this is one thing I talk to my students about, is when, you know, because I teach a practice management class, and in that class, I have them come out of that class with tools ready to go, with pages, blog posts, all done. And what I have them do is I have them go into their clinic and write, you know, when they're in clinic, when they're in student clinic, I have them write down all the questions that are asked them. What is chi? What are you doing for me? Why are you feeling my pulses? Why are you looking at my tongue? Why is this what's this tingling feeling about? So think about all of the frequently asked questions that you are asked during your treatments, and have a running log of those questions, and then do short 1 to 3 minute videos on each of those questions right there. And then, you know, you can drip those videos onto your website, onto your social media channels. You could even, I would even diversify that and do some live Facebook, you know, answering those questions. And one thing you could even do too is to, just reach out to, you know, when you get your clients on board and when you start working with them, you can even ask them, you know, hey, what are some of your pressing questions and your concerns that you or family members might have had about the care that you're getting here. And so the idea would be, if you're looking for content for your videos, look at your FAQs. What are people asking you? You could do short videos on that. I even would suggest doing, you know, short little videos on cupping and the type of techniques that you incorporate in your practice, so people will know what you're doing. And, you know, iPhones these days have really good cameras, so you can use that to film your stuff. Make sure the lighting is decent. Make sure that the sound is good. Make sure there's no distractions behind you. When you do that, especially when you do telehealth too, there's a checklist that I went through when I did the webinar a couple weeks back that is important to consider when you're doing your professional acupuncture telehealth sessions. So
Wonderful. Thank you, Jeffrey, for all of that. Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
So now we're going to give the mic to Michelle Grasek. Hi, Michelle.
Hello. All right, so your questions were, what am I doing now for my marketing? And then how do I foresee marketing in 2020 in the future? Is that right?
Yes, whatever you're an expert in marketing. So anything that you want to share that you feel would be good. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So my name is Michelle Grasek. I run Acupuncture Marketing School, which is an online course that teaches the foundations of marketing. And my website is michellegrasek.com, where I have lots of free marketing worksheets and checklists. And let's see, I'll dive right in. So I'm not doing telehealth right now for my practice. My marketing has been pretty consistent with the way that I ran it before COVID. But I am obviously leaning into social media a little bit more, trying to show up for people as much as possible during this time and just be present with them to stay top of mind, I think is really, really essential. You certainly don't want people to forget about you and your practice, but as COVID goes on longer and longer, I am getting so much support from patients and realizing that that's probably not going to happen, right? When they are finally allowed to come back and see us, I think they are looking forward to it, right? They might be a little hesitant at first as we get used to the new normal, but I am telling everyone, everyone that I'm teaching to try to show up on social media consistently, again, so you can maintain that presence and build trust with people. And one thing that I have been doing online is teaching a gua sha and jade roller class. My specialty is cosmetic acupuncture. Yeah, so I would teach these classes in person every month or every 2 months. And then, of course, I had to cancel one that was coming up when COVID happened. So I realized it was something that was really easy to transition online, and people actually liked it quite a bit. I wonder if they like it maybe even better than being in person, because they get to wear their pajamas. They don't have to leave their house. They can order their gua sha tool from the internet. So that went over really well. And then they also have the recording so they can watch the video later. So yes, and that's kind of something that Jeffrey said, is thinking about all the things that you can offer people. What can you teach them? What kind of videos can you record for them? I think that has been really important during this time when we're not in practice. I have been thinking a lot about what marketing is going to look like in the rest of 2020, like even after we are allowed to slowly go back into practice again. I made, you guys know, if you've ever seen me teach before, I love lists. So I made a list for you. Let's see. So I think there's going to be a couple big shifts. I have 4 things here on this list. So one is that everyone is going to want to focus on, emphasize local in your marketing, right? So I think something that we discovered through COVID was that having, you know, manufacturing abroad and then having that completely shut down and no international shipping, et cetera, really made people freak out about the idea that we can't be self-sufficient as a nation, right? So all of a sudden that means that people are really pulling back into their communities and have this awareness of small businesses, like maybe they might have had it a little bit before, but now more than ever, I think people are looking to support small business and to be more self-sufficient in their own communities. So what that means for our marketing is honestly just bringing it up more often, right? Because I think it's natural for us to think like, well, obviously I'm a local business and people know that it's good to support it. I don't need to mention it. One thing I always talk about when I teach marketing is that repetition is a good thing, right? So you're going to feel like you're telling people something that maybe they already know, and you're going to need to say it multiple times, but that's normal and necessary in marketing, right? So mentioning on your Facebook posts or in your emails about how, you know, when they come to your clinic, they're supporting a small business, right? Because that's the kind of marketing that's going to get people's attention throughout the rest of 2020. In addition, see here, I lost my list. I think we are going to see an even bigger shift to authenticity in social media marketing and just digital marketing as a whole throughout the rest of 2020. Even before COVID happened, people were sort of getting a little tired of the like airbrushed perfection on social media. And I know from working with my acupuncture students that that's a really big barrier for us to showing up online and doing a consistent social media marketing, as we worry that our lives are not social media worthy if we aren't like projecting this image of perfection. But I think that COVID has really forced people to get online, obviously, right? And share how they're feeling and what they're dealing with. People are being much more honest about, you know, their emotional highs and lows and what they're managing at home. And I think that the outcome of that throughout the rest of this year is going to be that people are really not going to be as interested in anything that's like fake or airbrushed or plasticized, right? Like they want the real you. That's what they are looking for. That's the kind of business that they want to support because they can relate to you, right? When you just are, when you show up as yourself. Because if you think about it, that airbrush perfection is really hard to relate to. And I think a lot of people don't imagine when they see that kind of marketing that they can really replicate it in their life, right? It feels distant to them. But when you just show up as yourself and you share your story, like how you got into this medicine, if you have, you know, a history of illness that acupuncture was able to heal, all of that helps people relate to you really, really strongly. And that builds trust, right? And I'm always teaching my students that building trust is really the foundation of marketing. Like that should be your goal with all of your marketing, is build up enough trust with potential patients that they're willing to take the risk to come and see you for an appointment, okay? It feels like a risk to them. We know it's not a risk. Let's see, the next idea that I have, I know it's so unpopular with so many of us, is that video is going to continue to be the best way to dominate on social media. I know acupuncturists don't even like the word dominate, right? But I mean, before COVID, for years, right, video was becoming the kind of social media posts that the algorithms preferred, right? So if you showed up on video, that means that your post is much more likely to be shown to more of your followers and people who aren't your followers, versus if you just type out a post, okay? So now that everyone has been forced onto video because of COVID, like more people than ever are comfortable being on video because they have to teleconference for work, because of telemedicine, right? Because of sheer boredom, people are showing up dancing on TikTok, right? So I think that in order to be competitive, and again, I know it's not a popular opinion, in order to be competitive, it helps so much to get on video in your marketing. So one thing that I always teach my students is, I already mentioned this, right? Like marketing is about building trust. So there's an idea in marketing that you have to have 5 to 7 touch points on average for enough trust to be built up that someone makes an appointment with you. And a touch point is just a reminder about you and your business, right? So that could be a Facebook post, for example. So you have to build up enough of those, right? Repeated marketing so that someone makes an appointment with you. But there are warm touch points and there are cold touch points. Warm touch points are things like being in person, like having a conversation in person. Since we can't do that, and that may even be limited when we can go back into practice, right, with social distancing, video, live video and the recorded video are the next warmest touch points, right? So the idea is that they build trust faster so that you need fewer touch points overall before someone decides to jump in and make an appointment with you. So if you can be super brave and get on video and be willing to share your thoughts on the medicine, your approach to it, and you know, share your story, if you feel like you have a story that relates to acupuncture, I think that people will gravitate towards you and that authenticity, and that will make your marketing much more effective. And then the last bullet that I have is just that obviously digital marketing is going to be paramount in 2020 because social distancing is going to make that, I mean, it's just really compressing the number of people that you're going to see. So anyone who was very good at networking in the past in person, I think we're going to see just a huge shift to everybody focusing on digital, of course. That's my last bullet point for you.
Wow, that was a really good reminder. And yeah, I also have been feeling when the pandemic started that it would be a lot of what Jeffrey and you have shared, that, you know, video is king and digital marketing is going to be very, very important. And even those touch points, the cold and warm touch points are shifting. So yeah, thank you so much. That was really, really insightful.
Thank you.
And we did get one question in during that, and it's to anyone. How to go about doing a podcast? Any ideas?
Well, I can yeah, talk a little bit on that right now, just briefly, but I mean, well, I think podcasts are great. You could use Zoom. You could use a platform like Zoom, strip out the audio, and then use a software like Anchor FM to, to upload it. But there are so many different podcast platforms out there. Some are free, some are paid. So it would behoove you to do a little bit of research on that to figure out which one really resonates with you. But the thing about podcasting, which is important, is to make sure that you have good quality sound. Make sure that your mic is, you know, that like, you know, you guys can hear me like a little differently speaking over here. I sound way different than, you know, with my mic over here, right? So make sure that, you know, that when people are hearing and listening to you, that they really hear the quality of sound that's coming through. With that also, you have noticed that on the beginning of podcasts, there's all these flashy little sounds and little intros, video intros. You can get those done on Fiverr, Fiverr. Just go there and Google podcast video intro, and you can find male voices, female voices to announce you. And also you can, have somebody there design that intro for you in that way. So I think podcasting is great. I would really encourage everyone to do that. It's actually a modality we're moving into, I'm moving into, because I'm a lot of great experts. I always interview Lorne, I always interview Michelle, and there's no reason why we're not having them frequently show up on our podcasts. So I would definitely encourage you to do that. And there's a lot of great scripts and outlines for you to sort of walk through. Some, just Google awesome podcast questions. You'll get a lot of, really great questions that you can come up with that you could ask people and that are inspiring and engaging.
Great, thank you. And that was a really great and unique question. And if you guys are interested, type in yes in the chat box for getting Jeffrey to do a podcast webinar for us. So if that's your interest, let me know, right? Yes, and I will convince him to do it for us, hopefully. All right, thank you, Jeffrey. And Michelle, thank you. Any last words before we switch on to Lorne?
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much. Lorne, hi, welcome.
Thank you very much. Good to be back on and
Yes,
with my colleagues here. So I practice Chinese medicine, and I have 9 associates, and I have a clinic here in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And we're closed still because of COVID. So we're going to talk about some of the marketing specifically related to the time of COVID, of what we're doing. And some of the, I'll call it the heavenly stuff, because I'm a big fan of really the yin within yang, like what's behind what you're doing. I do a lot of yang stuff, but there's a lot of touchy-feely stuff beforehand. I do the yang stuff. And so we don't know what to expect. So there's a transparency. This is new for everybody. So I'm not going to come out here confidently and say, this is what's you do and this is what's going to work, because there's never been a time where the world has been like it is. And there's never been a time where we've been told we can't treat. So, you've had weird months, but never where your income can go to zero, right? And I don't know what it's like in the States, but in Canada, in our province in particular, I know naturopaths and acupuncturists cannot say, we'll support your immune system, we'll boost your immune system. If you say anything about immune system, there's agencies coming after you and shutting you down, saying, because they don't want to confuse the public that there's any treatment for COVID, and that you can protect them from COVID. And they don't want you to be telling them to take products that can support your immune system. So just to let you know, this is kind of a new time. It's kind of like we've lost regulation almost. And so that can be scary for some. And I just want to acknowledge that we're in unknown. And so if you're worried and if you're fearful, it's totally understandable, because this is unknown stuff. I'm a fan that everything, the story may look different, but the internal stuff is always the same, right? These old patterns of programs. And so fear. And this is where marketing, I'm going to tie this into marketing. I'm going to share what we're doing in our clinic. Because the question is, what do you do for marketing? What is marketing? So my interpretation of marketing, the word we use for marketing, is about creating awareness to our patients that we exist. And our marketing is to help remove obstacles, basically fear from them seeing us. One of the fears before COVID would be fear of needles, for example, right? 50% of the population have it. So right now we're going to be really specific about helping remove those fears of coming to see us. And so since COVID's on the mind, we are going to share what we're doing, and we have been sharing what we're doing to keep people as safe as possible. So we're going to talk about all our protocols. Now, everybody's doing that, and I think some of our speakers already said it can sound like lip service. If you all say the same thing, every business, everything, then it loses some of its value. So what are you going to be doing differently? And so we are doing some things that are going to go above and beyond. We've bought a few devices that have the UV machines to kill mold and bacteria and viruses in the air. So we're going to share that we're doing that, letting them know we're doing some extra things. These machines that run all night, and we bought a couple of them. We got several of them, overkill. So just showing our patients we're doing that. Because you do have to let them know, is it safe? It's not that it's safe for them, but what are you doing to keep the risks down? And then on the other side is the transparency. We're going to have a pretty serious consent form and waiver form to let them know that no matter how many masks or gloves we wear, I'm paraphrasing, but we can't protect them from COVID. That if they don't do isolation, they're at risk. Because if you sit there and try and make it sound like they're safe, that also hurts the trust. Because everybody knows most people know that you can't protect them. And if they don't know that, they need to know that we don't know about this disease, this virus. And so we're being very transparent that the best thing is to do isolation. And if they come to our clinic, they are at risk, just the fact that they've left their house. And so we always call it the white elephant in our clinic. And so we can address that and talk about that. And if a patient's not comfortable coming, don't come. We're not going to coerce them to come. I've set some expectations to my team to let them know that I don't expect our clinic to be like it was in volume for several months. And my concern for my team and my patients is safety. So just setting that expectation, not trying to exhaust ourselves, trying to be busy, trying to be like it was. Live in the now. Yesterday is gone. And so our key is safety. And then what can we do that is enjoyable for us still in our marketing and is valuable and beneficial for our clients? And so I said marketing is about creating awareness and about removing those obstacles. So we're going to let them know about how we're being safe and let them know they're still at risk. And then education, the awareness about us. We constantly are educating our patients. And if you, on my website at acubalance.ca, what we have been doing is releasing several videos for pregnant women, what they can do with acupressure and all the things that they can do, and also letting them know as a call to action. So whenever you market, there's always a call to action. So even though you're giving and educating, you want a call to action still in your communication. And so we let them know if they want to have a one-on-one and have more comprehensive support, they can book a telehealth session, because we're still closed in Canada. We don't expect to go back until June in British Columbia, at least second half of May. We are doing the telehealth, but it's not the volume that we had with our clinic. So we are doing telehealth, but if telehealth is our future, we need to get creative and find something different to do, because we don't have anticipation of surviving on it. So I don't think it's going to change your practice if you had a busy practice like my team has. So we've been doing videos and education, and that's fun. And so keep doing that. We have a bunch of fertility videos going out. So our clinic does a lot of fertility and pregnancy. So that's the area we've been focusing on. Now we treat pain and fatigue and other things. Why do we go with fatigue? Why did we go with not fatigue, but with pregnancy and fertility? Well, we're looking for people that need us, and it's kind of essential for them that they're motivated to want to see us, and the risk is worth it. So babies aren't waiting. So pregnant women, right? Babies aren't going to wait. So if they need our support, they're there. We're there for them. And fertility patients, some of these patients have conditions where time is of essence, and they want our support, whether they're doing IVF or because of their situation, they don't have a luxury or think they don't have a luxury to wait 3 or 4 months. So that's why we focused in marketing. They call that the low-hanging fruit. We didn't go after the person that has a sore elbow because that may not be enough for somebody to want to venture into our clinic while the energy in British Columbia is we're still closed. In your city, you may be wide open. Like state of Florida is a little different, so the mentality may be different. We're still under lockdown here in British Columbia. So, and when we open, they don't want everybody to start flocking. It's like, because you need to go. It's not about business as usual here in British Columbia. They're not thinking we need to get our economy going and everybody go out and take that risk. They're thinking we're going to start opening things up, but we don't want people going unnecessary to a lot of these things, including acupuncture. The touchy-feely thing, and I started touching on this about our team, is my expectation. So we're being kind to ourselves. Guys, it's new territory. We don't know what to expect. So for the first month, we're going to slow down our schedule so we can clean properly. We're not going to run the 3 or 4 rooms a doctor that we had before. And we're allowing the pacing to allow for social or physical distancing and allow for the proper cleaning. And just so we can do this properly without burning ourselves out. So we've slowed it down. And we're going to figure it out as we go, what's working and what's not working for our patients. And then we're going to modify, and eventually we'll get more efficient. And as we get more efficient, we can play with our volume. But we're purposely going to slow our schedule down. And so we've given ourselves permission to continue to lose money, basically, while we figure this out. Again, it's that kindness to ourselves of not burning out and worrying, I should be seeing this many people. We don't know how many we should be seeing at this point. So we're just going to go out and educate. The other part is, because there's going to be a new normal, this is the time for creativity. And creativity does not come from a stressed out brain. Creativity does not come out of the sympathetic nervous system when you're in overdrive. It doesn't come from a high beta wave, beta brain waves. That's when you're in survival mode and you do survival things. So what I do and what my team does and what we're going to educate even our patients, and what I'm suggesting to you is some type of yin practice, whether it's a form of qigong or meditation. And there's science behind this. When you get out of that sympathetic, so if you're worrying, I got to be busy, I got to do this, and there's a lot of stress and you're tight in the chest and you're holding your breath and you're tense physically and you're tense mentally, you don't access that part of your brain where creativity comes from. And we now know that when we start to get into that alpha brain waves, when you bring your brain waves into that 10 hertz, when you start to get into that parasympathetic, you can access parts of your brain where you'll come up with ideas that you would never come up with if you're in high beta. So this is the neuroscience behind that. That's why the practice of meditation and qigong is key. This has been my secret sauce. Like, you know, I created Healthy Seminars, which used to be called Pro D Seminars for online continuing education for acupuncture. We did that in 2008. We took acupuncture continuing education online in 2008, and we were told I was insane. Who would do acupuncture online? Now, this is 2020. In 2008, I was considered insane. It was hard to get video actually on our stuff. There wasn't enough bandwidth. But the stuff that comes out of that part of the brain, most people will tell you you're crazy. So if you have an idea and everybody's doing it, it's probably not a good one, to be honest, because you want to get to that area. Like when you're doing something and most people think you're crazy, like when community acupuncture came out and people went uproar out of that, how can you do that? You got to do one-on-one. That was brilliant. Now, obviously they're messed up with COVID, but when that came out, that was great. Until they did it and proved the concept, people couldn't see it. So when you get into this place, you're going to get some ideas. And that's what's going to be the game changer for some people, is this change in this idea, this creativity. And you can only tap that if you're able to train your body to relax and train your mind to relax. And there's now, like I mentioned, neuroscience to talk about this. This is Taoist principles that we all know. And so if you are feeling tense, then you want to learn to train your mind and to pick up this practice. Everything I've done, when I did the Integrated Fertility Symposium, created an American conference in Canada, they thought it was nuts because it was a fertility focus, only fertility, and it was in a different country. Most people weren't even attending Americans weren't going to their own conferences. And we did this in Canada and it sold out 5 years in a row. So after it's done, everybody goes, oh, that's brilliant. I'm going to do that. It's easy. Yeah. But at the time when I first started, I had a lot of naysayers. And so I would share with you that I think what's going to happen when there's friction, COVID is friction. It's created a challenge. And when we have friction, we create gems out of it. That's when brilliance happens. And if it doesn't break you, then great things come out of it. And so this is what's going to come out of this. And I don't know what it's going to look like yet. I really don't know what it's going to look like, because what's going to be doesn't exist yet. That's what COVID is doing. And it's really uncomfortable. When you go through some of these shifts, like this is uncomfortable. I'm not loving this aspect. I have my moments, I'm having a good time, but this is something like, wow, this is a game changer. We have to change. So what do I predict? Now, my disclaimer is I have no clue. I don't have my crystal ball. I suspect that a lot of clinics will be hybrids, meaning a lot of telemedicine with in-person. The telemedicine for us, what we're planning to do at my clinic is to make pretty much all of our initials telehealth. That's where we get to do a bit of a screening and see if it's worth for them to come in and make sure they're clear on what we're going to do and set up the program right then and there. So they're kind of aware this is how long it's going to take. So they don't come in for one visit and realize, I didn't know I have to come in twice a week for 4 weeks, for example. We want to do that on telehealth. So reduce the risk to all my team, them coming into the clinic, and reduce their risk as well. And then if it's the right fit, then they can come in. Like, for example, a woman does a telehealth with us and we find out she's 75 and she has a sore elbow, we're going to tell her not to come in. If she's 75 and labor breathing and she's got a lot of risk and she's got no answers, we'll probably want her to come in, and so we can work with her if we need to do the acupuncture. In those first visits, we're able to prescribe and do diet with them. We're able to do supplements, and we're all herbalists in my clinic, so we can prescribe herbs as well. So that first visit, we can start their program and then add the acupuncture and the laser and the IVs that we do in our clinic once we're open again. And if we are open, we can prescribe that as part of it. So that's the plan for my clinic. If you look at our website, can I share my screen to show this? Because maybe an example, because Jeff talked about making your website change. So I'm so glad that we did this, Jeff, because
yeah, definitely you can share your screen.
I'm a good student.
Good job, Lorne.
So, and I'll show you our Facebook as well, because this is what we've done at our clinic. So I'm just going to give you some examples. We made this change pretty quickly. So I'll share my screen. I'll go to here. Here we go. So here's our homepage of our clinic, Vancouver. And then we have a quick notice right on the homepage. And you notice it doesn't say we are closed. So many clinics says we are closed, right? That's all the clinics say, we are closed. Look at our first line. To do our part to help slow the spread of the virus, we will continue to keep the clinic closed until May 18th. It is clear the situation is evolving. At this time, we don't know for certain how long. Actually, this was supposed to be changed. They didn't change this, my team. I told them a week ago to change this. It was supposed to say, and what I recommend you to say, so this is a great example. I'd give this, if just as Jeffrey Grossman doing your web check, I would say, we are currently open for telehealth sessions. Bang, that's my first line. And I told them to change this, so I'm gonna tell them in a second to fix that. Then I let them know, we currently are not accepting in-person visits because of COVID-19. That's my second line. I'm not going to start off with I'm closed. I'm going to start off with what we can offer, and that is in the telehealth. So anyways, you can see here what we have here. Now I'm going to go to Facebook. I'm going to just show you one other thing, just because I won't forget. We do have a resource page on my other website, healthyseminars.com. There's tons of free resources, and there's a whole calendar of fun stuff. Tomorrow we have a real fun in the Conscious Tuesday. This is where, if you're a practitioner, I want you to have a look at this. FSOMA did a great talk the other day on their YouTube page about the legalities and going back into practice. This one's going to be by Valerie Hobbs and Steve Shomo on Friday. And this is a free webinar, and you can just sign up on this on our site, healthyseminars.com/resources. Do check that out. Now let me bring up the Facebook page. I'm more proud of our Facebook page than of our homepage. You know, it's nice when you see an error, right? It's easier for teaching because it sticks right out, because that was supposed to be a change. All right, I'm opening up another browser here because I want to show you what we did on our Facebook page. All right, here we go. I think we're going there. It's just a little slow with the web, but we're moving it on. Okay, perfect. All right, I'm going to share this now.
All right, and while you have that set up, I wanted to remind everyone that I've been sharing a couple of resources in the chat box, and we'll go over them again, but you can go ahead and take a look in the chat box as well.
So we changed our Facebook. So look at this in big letters. AcuBalance is now offering telehealth. E-visits available with trusted practitioners. So that got changed right away on our Facebook. I know on our homepage on AcuBalance now, we use FullScript for supplement ordering for our patients. And so now they can, we use that when we do our telehealth, we use FullScript they drop ship to our patients. They pay us, and then they pay FullScript and drop ship it for us. And we even put up on our page some of our favorite protocols for different conditions that they can go right from our website and purchase that from Full Script as well. So those are the things that I would recommend is continue to fill yourself up. Really, most people are like, I need to go, go, go. And Jeff said this at the beginning. It seems like the world has given us a reset. It's basically said everybody go to their room and reflect. And if you go out with the guns ablazes, I don't know if we've learned our lesson. You're going to just burn yourself out and spin your wheels. So, and you're really going to be spinning your wheels. It's not going to be super easy to come out of this and be super busy right away. Patients are going to be nervous, and whether they should come out to you is one. And then your part is going to be different how you practice. So really start to go within and fill yourself up. And this creativity part, because Jeff also said, we don't think this is a one and done thing. This COVID can come back and other viruses can come back. And in Canada, I don't know if this is happening in the States. So I guess Forbes is a US magazine. In Canada, there's been some very major news outlets and radio, well-respected radio stations have been calling acupuncturists and naturopaths to entrapment, ask them, do you treat COVID, right? So they're doing that, and they're trying to get, we all got emails at our clinic, they try to get us on a show about COVID. So they're really trying to affect us. Forbes just came out with an article, so you guys, this just came out, I just got a message from this. It just came out saying that because the World Health Organization has given a green light for Chinese medicine, it's because of Chinese medicine that we have COVID, because of the bat. So Forbes has, and you know how brilliant people are. People are drinking bleach and Clorox because your president said it can disinfect, right? So the average person isn't super bright, right? Because in Canada, they watch your news, and we've had a few Canadians die or have had to have their stomachs removed because of it, because he said those things. So you know people are going to read that, and they are going to think Chinese medicine is bad. And so I don't know exactly what's going on, if there's a witch hunt against us, but it's really odd that there is not a allopathic treatment for COVID, and yet we are told not to let anybody know about how they can support their immune system. Like, we've been told to be quiet, and if we speak, we get slapped. And even our association, our regulatory bodies are telling us, don't you dare say anything. And
yeah,
so
it's a sensitive area, and
it's a sensitive
like
area.
you said, we're all trying to do the best we can.
So what I share with you guys is why this is not one and done is, you know, the creativity part is going to be important, because I think the landscape is going to change for us, and we're going to have some outspoken individuals, positive ones, and hopefully the public will get behind them like they got behind Greta for the environment. But right now in this, it's May 4th today, filming this. The Star Wars episode is today, right? Star Wars Day. It seems like we're losing this battle, and as an acupuncturist, it can feel scary, and it can feel like, wow, how am I going to get out of this? You got to trust in the force, so you got to do your meditation. You got to connect with people like Jeffrey and Michelle and the FSOMA, and we all have to actually pick up our lightsaber. We all have to do our part. This is not a time for you to sit on your hand and be polite. This is a time for you to educate the public and to share with them what you can offer. And it really comes down to education. Marketing is about educating your value to your patients, and it's all about how you can benefit them. It's not about you. And my last thing I'll finish is, what's the energy you're coming with? If you're coming from neediness, I need patience, and your marketing is about neediness, and you're coming from a lack, a desperation, people pick up on that, especially now where the vibration is changing in our world. So people smell that. So that's why I talk about the meditation and filling yourself up, because you may say, I'm here to help you, I want to support you, but you're just reeking of neediness. And neediness is such a repellent. And if people smell that on you, they'll pick it up. It's not the five senses, it gets picked up. You know this, you can sense this from people. If you're in a relationship, it's the most unattractive quality of an individual, neediness. So if you are doing the marketing because you're wanting to be busy, then they'll probably smell that. Now, yes, you want to be busy. However, you can really get your heart behind it, and your marketing is really about, you want to let them know about something you can do for them. So it's really about them. Like, you're so excited that you can benefit them, and you want to educate them how they're going to benefit, and that's why you want to share this. Then that will come back to you tenfold. But so two people can do the same Facebook ad, social media ad, same website. One person's hoping they get patients out of it, and they're coming from lack. They don't get patients. The other person, even if they don't get a patient, they're happy they did the podcast. They're happy they did the blog. It feels good to share. They're the ones that get all the patients. I know this. I do lectures all the time. When I do a lecture for the public, and I'm coming from neediness, like I'm really wanting to be busier, I want my associates to be busier, nobody shows up. It's minimal. I can't believe how it works this way. And when I can't wait to share it, because I know this medicine works and I can help people, and it's more valuable for them to be in the room than for me to give this talk. When I come from that place, how can I be a service to others? The room gets full and they convert to patients. So our attitude at our clinic is, what can we produce at AccuBalance that will benefit our community without worrying about them coming to see us today? Because we don't think many of them are going to come see us, the majority like we used to see in the first few months. But because we're doing this, I also know the left brain part of this is that they will remember us. And when the majority of the people become comfortable, we'll be much busier. So for right now, we're planting the seed. And when you plant a seed, the next day, you don't have your tomato plant. Even though you're watering it, you're composting, you're fertilizing, there's nothing there. You come out a week later, there's still no tomato plant. But one day that plant sprouts. And then in the fall, you harvest it. You don't get to harvest in the spring, you harvest in the fall. So I share with my team, just keep doing the podcast, keep doing the webinars, keep educating. Even though you don't see any fruit yet, the fruit will come. And don't give up, because so many people give up because when they look at the soil, there's nothing there. But underneath the soil, this seed is composting and sprouting and going against the crazy odds, hardly any oxygen, heavy dirt, no light. This green sprout makes it up. And if you stop watering it and fertilizing it, you never get your fruit. And that's why most people don't succeed, is they stop well in advance of what they need to do. You can't do this for a month and say, I did this, it didn't work. You do this. I'm 20 years into practice and I still do this.
Consistency is key.
So two things. I would like you to check out healthyseminars.com/resources for some of these resources that we've talked about. And that's it. And my background, just so you know, Doctor of Chinese Medicine. I'm a chartered accountant, CPA, and I've also written a book called Missing the Point, Why Acupuncturists Fail, What They Need to Know to Succeed. So I like to bring the yin and yang. I have the business experience and the Chinese medicine experience. It's worked for me in everything we've done so far. I have my failures like everybody else. Not everything's a home run. And right now, there's a lot of unknown. And unknowns can be uncomfortable. Are you willing to be uncomfortable? That's the key. Because if you're thinking you're going to go into this calm and confident, then I want to eat what you're eating. However, if you're willing to be uncomfortable, because this is unknown and this is uncertain, and then you're probably going to be okay. Right. And you got two lovely people here that coach people that can support you on this journey as well, in Jeffrey and Michelle.
Thank you, Lorne. Thank you for all those tips. One of my professors at school, Kevin Clark, at Adam, I went to school at Adam here in Florida. He taught us and would drill in our minds, you need to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And I have carried that with me ever since he said it to me. And I remember him all the time. And yeah, right now we have to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And like Lorne said, the pressure, the discomfort is what's causing all of us will create innovation and new ways. And like he referenced a new normal, but like, what does that new normal even look like? We all have no idea.
We are going to create it. That's the thing. It doesn't exist yet. We are going to create it.
And that means that we all have that power of what is it that you want to create. And so right now, with everyone sharing about marketing and how marketing is really an authentic way of you sharing your passion towards your community, how can you utilize that now to create that new normal for yourself? And that's going to look different for everyone, right? I can share for me, I live in Miami, and Miami is a very interesting place, right? So I've actually had people call me and reach out to me more now than before the pandemic. And there's more interest and curiosity about what I do. And of course, I market myself differently. I say I'm a holistic primary healthcare. So that, and I utilize my treatments, which are acupuncture and cupping are my treatment and modalities. And I do miss cupping. Ugh. But but yeah, you just, what is that new normal that you want to create, right? So before I go into the questions, I have been sharing with you guys some resources, and Lorne has been sharing more resources, and we're going to add them in again. So by the way, Lorne's book, Missing the Point, I've read it. I highly recommend it because it challenges you to think outside of the box, to think from a different perspective. So that is always really, really great. And Jeffrey is offering a website checkup. So websites are the new business cards. And there are a lot of things that we should have on our, at least the homepage, like was talked about tonight. The call to action button is definitely one of them. So the links that I provided, there is, I believe the first one, a free website evaluation by Jeffrey from Acupuncture or Acupuncture websites, AcuPerfect websites. So I recommend all of you to take advantage of that. You just copy and click the link. And then Michelle also has her acupuncture marketing school, and open enrollment is this week. She did offer a scholarship challenge last week. It closed on Friday, and those are really cool and fun if you follow her on Instagram and social media. She is, I feel like I see her more on Instagram, and I'm always on all of them looking around. And of course, Lorne has been sharing his resources on healthyseminars.com resources, which are guidelines for acupuncturists going back to work, and telehealth. So both Jeffrey
I'll give you, my book is on sale just because of isolation. So I'll let people know that on missingthepointbook.com, my book is on sale and there's free shipping during the month. And the whole Healthy Seminars website is on sale as well, 25% off if people need floor to CUs. But I would just, we have so much free content right now on the site. Check out the healthyseminars.com/resources for those resources to help you during COVID, and the spiritual stuff is there. And then the book is also on sale though, if people want to have a fun read.
Yes, I've been definitely enjoying those videos, especially Heiner Fruhoff.
Yeah,
I love
nice.
that, yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and look through the Q&A and see what we have. So, Lorne, this one is for you. In Canada, can you use Chinese medical terms like wind, heat, wind cold, excess, deficiency, and then prescribe appropriate treatment courses based on TCM?
In British Columbia, because every province has their rules. So in British Columbia, Canada, actually that is our scope. We have to use TCM diagnosis. We can't say you have COVID-19. We can't say you have psoriasis. We got to use the TCM pattern diagnosis and then treat it according to that pattern. So if somebody has hypothyroid, we can only say, yes, you have hypothyroid because there's been a lab test that says it's hypo, already reviewed by a medical doctor. We couldn't say that as acupuncturists, but we could say, we understand you have fatigue due to spleen Qi deficiency, and then treat accordingly.
Wonderful, very interesting. Thank you. This one is for anyone on the panel. Recommendations for helping clients with depression, but staying within our scope of practice as far as marketing to help people who suffer with grief and loss and PTSD.
Well, I think that's it. Do you suffer with grief, loss, and have been diagnosed with PTSD? I can
Yeah,
help
simple.
you. You can make a diagnosis. You may not be able to say you have depression, but you can say, do you feel depressed? Semantics with the words. Chinese medicine, treats emotional imbalances, if I understood the question correctly. So exactly what have you experienced grief, loss? Have you been diagnosed with PTSD? And then that's your intro. Michelle, do you have anything to add to that? Am I missing the question?
No, I totally agree. That is the angle that I would come at it. I'm imagining creating a Facebook ad in my head, and that is the wording that I would use. Like, if you've suffered from grief or depression. Yeah.
Yes, great. So any more questions, please take this time to type them in. And I forgot to pull this up for you guys, but for those of you that are joining us tonight, if I can find that document, you are getting one PDA. So let me find that. There is a website link that I need you guys to go to submit the survey. Once you submit the survey, then you will be getting the PDA. And sorry, I completely spaced out on that. And in the meantime, if our panelists have something, last minute words or insights they want to share, you can do so as well.
I mean, the one thing I want to share is that, I mean, Lorne touched on, I think we as acupuncturists are very aware of stagnation. And if we don't reinvent ourselves and find points to pivot on now in this time, when it does come around again, and I really hope it doesn't, that will be in the same boat. So I really think that using this time wisely, where you can figure out ways to, services to offer, different ways that you can potentially offer other techniques or classes or anything like that. My wife, massage therapist, she uses tuning forks. She's actually been learning some distant healing with tuning forks, and it's been working. People in New York City have been feeling tuning fork distant healing, and I'm amazed by that. So there are ways to sort of reinvent yourself and to move out of that place of being stuck and stagnant, and to keep yourself moving forward. And I really encourage all of you to try to figure out what that is and what that looks like for you. It's scary. But you've got to, like you were saying, you got to get out of your comfort zone. It's not a time to be comfortable and just to be sitting around. Unless, of course, you want to tap into a new profession when this is all over, which I hope you don't, because the world needs people like you, and it needs its medicine. So stay strong, stay current, and move that chi.
I would just say, if you're looking to fill up that soul part of you, the more of the quantum physics and that consciousness, my website, lornebrown.com, I have a lot of typos in the chat room, but Bruce Lipton, Lynn McTaggart, Landine Lewis, Laurie Deschar, I did a talk on Introduction to Mastering Manifestation. They're all free on that website, these little interviews. So if you go to lornebrown.com, you can see all these interviews with these, and Bruce talks about acupuncture. Grab that clip and put it on your website. He talks about how important acupuncture is for consciousness. And so that site, lornebrown.com, you can jump from that site to my healthy seminars. You can jump to that to AcuBalance. You want to see kind of how we're doing things. You can jump to our site at AcuBalance and see that as well. And there's even a link to my book and the workshop I'm doing on consciousness. So that's a good place if you're looking for I'm just feeling a little tense, and I just need to be able to take a deep breath in and exhale. That's what those webinars are. They're not about, you got to go do this, this, and this. They're just really about, okay, I don't know what to do. I'm uncomfortable, and I just need to get a little bit of a spiritual boost. then I would check out those webinars on laurenbrown.com. I need that all the time. That's why I created the site. Those interviews are for me, but I share them with you guys. So check that out at laurenbrown.com, and you can jump to the healthy seminars. Remember, the resource page has free stuff. And yeah, I just deep breaths. And to me, this is a time of going within. Like the going without is coming. I'm still doing the yang, the external, but I'm doing 70% yin, 30% yang. Like right now, it's really about filling myself up, moving the chi still, and getting into that part of my brain, trusting that I'm going to come up with something and reinvent myself or be creative, because this can keep happening. And I don't think if my clinic does what it used to do and just continues on, I don't think I can handle this many interruptions over the next decade. And so I'm preparing for this is going to happen a lot. That's my mindset. I'm preparing for that. And I don't know what that looks like, but the meditation, and I talk about this in my introductory manifestation talk, about I come from that feeling of that it's already arrived, and then the ideas start to flow. And if that piques your interest, then definitely check out my introductory talk on laurenbrown.com. And thank you for your attention, and thank you for inviting me to be with these two amazing panelists. I appreciate the honor of being invited.
Thank you. So we did get a couple of questions. Camille is asking about the basic 8 questions on telehealth. And actually, we have Jeffrey is going to be doing a telehealth webinar. So we'll hold that question until then, because I think that will be a fun one. And this one, Jeffrey, is for you specifically. How do you promote distance healing?
You're muted.
Anyway, I would think that you would do it in any way that you promote any of your services and offerings now. So one of the first things that I mentioned was reaching out, coming up with your A-list, reaching out to those clients and just checking in with them. Just check in with your heart, with your soul, with your feelings, your emotions. You love them, right? You miss them, you want to see them, and they'll feel that, and let them know what your services are in that respect. As far as promoting it goes, I would definitely promote it on Facebook. Do a little video about what you offer. Hey, we're offering distant healing now. Here's what it is. Here's what I can do. Here's reach out to me here for whatever that is. Promote it with email. Promote it on your website, on Instagram, wherever you can get that message out there. And one message goes through different portals: email, Facebook, Instagram, all of that. So, earlier I talked about your FAQ videos. Those could be, multi-dispersed through all the other mediums as well. So that's the suggestion there, how to get the message out there. As far as how to learn how to do distant healing, I don't know. It's something my wife's been tapping into. So she's got a bunch of resources. If you're interested in learning how to do it, I can potentially send some information through FSOMA to get to you if that's something that you're interested in.
Yeah, or they could probably contact you through email.
Sure.
Would that be okay?
Send me an email, Jeffrey, Jeffrey, at acupuncturemediaworks.com. I'll put it in the chat over here.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. And Michelle, do you have any final words or insights?
Not anything different than I think Lorne and Jeffrey have been reviewing. I think it is super important to move that chi and try to get into a place where you feel emotionally safe and balanced, so that you can have creativity, not just in your marketing, which is important and great, but also in creating your world moving forward. So
Wonderful. Thank you. So I did find that PDA link survey that I need you guys to fill out so you can get the PDA. I put that into the comment section, a chat section, sorry. It is really, really long. So I need you guys to just copy and save it, and you're gonna open that link. There's a survey that's going to pop up for you in the FSOMA page. Complete the survey, and that will allow us to report that one PDA for those of you that are viewing us tonight. So thank you again to our experts. I personally enjoy all their work, and I find it to be very inspirational and insightful, and they're just really, really kind human beings. So thank you, all of you, for being with us tonight, for supporting FSOMA, and for all of you viewing us, thank you for joining us, for supporting us as well. And we wish you all the best. Have a wonderful evening. Stay safe. And I think the lesson for today was have no fear and allow yourself to be creative and innovative. All right. Thank you, everyone, and good night.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good night, everyone. Bye. Thanks.